Okay,
right?
let's talk about that because as a woman, I've just reached I want to say I've just reached 50, but I'm actually 52. It just suddenly goes
Wow.
like that really, really quickly. And having spent the last 10 years really sort of focusing in on my health, fitness, giving up my corporate job and exploring personal growth and mindset, etc. I realized my habits in my 20s and 30s weren't helping where I
Yeah.
am right now. Now I've gone through menopause. I'm on HRT. I'm a bodybuilder. I lead a relatively healthy diet or have a very relatively healthy diet. Again, this is just what I assume. And by the way, I'm definitely doing your DNA test, but we'll come and talk about that afterwards. But what can I be doing? I mean, I want to optimize everything. I'm very much into optimizing my health, my wealth, my
Right.
mind. What else, as a woman my age, I guess, can I be doing as well?
So I would say that, so in our research, what did we do? We spent 3 years with 7,000 patients, one by one, to figure out why can your doctor not figure out what's going on and get rid of it. And we got rid of it 7,000 times, whatever it was, from acne to hair loss to crazy menopause to fibromyalgia. And what we learned is the part of healthcare that is the most broken is everything around female hormone health. There's this gray area of, hey, it's your hormones. You're supposed to feel horrible, right? That's kind of the answer. And yeah, puberty, fertility, menopause is all supposed to suck and be bad.
And yet I was on the birth control pill for 30 years. And I literally came off that and went on to HRT. And I'm only now reading how bad the birth
Yeah,
control pill was. Obviously it was our savior in before I was born in the 60s, it transformed, I guess, women and what we do today. But
yeah.
obviously have been massive side effects. Can you
So
talk
let's
around
use
that?
that as an example. Let's use that
Mhm.
as an example, right? So that's a perfect example of here's my genes, which point to which job my body doesn't do well. Now I know what to prioritize. I don't need to just, you start your health and wellness journey. Where do you start? There's all these amazing podcasts, YouTube videos, books. Like, what do you do first? Right? What is the priority? So the genes will tell you the priority. Here's the job that your body doesn't do well, or maybe does a little too well, which then equals something, right? Here's then the habits, the nutrition, which includes birth control pill. What are you taking in? The environment, the lifestyle. How do I exercise? How do I sleep? All of those loads on the bad genetic job then equal your problem. So some women, you've probably heard of the BRCA gene, right? So women are scared of BRCA. It's like this breast
Breast
cancer gene,
cancer.
right? Yeah. And so that's a perfect example to talk about your birth control pill. And I'm not, this is not the same truth for everybody. This is true for a certain genetic avatar or profile. So the BRCA gene, we're told that if you have a certain version, go cut out your breasts and go cut out your fallopian tubes so to prevent cancer.
Is this what Angelina Jolie is that why
Yes.
she, right?
Exactly. Go cut a piece of yourself off to prevent cancer, right? And why? Because you have this gene means elevated risk of cancer. If you ask a doctor that tells you that, what does the BRCA gene do? I can assure you they probably don't know, or they wouldn't say that. The BRCA gene is a tumor suppressor. So what it's supposed to do is if you have a tumor, it fixes it, it gets rid of it. If you have damaged DNA, it repairs it. If you have damaged inflamed cells, it repairs it. So if you have the bad version of BRCA, you don't do a good job of repair. But we still don't know what caused the cancer. BRCA didn't cause it, right? You just don't do good. So you're less likely to survive. It has nothing to do with cause. So now, if that's the case, park that for a second. What causes it? Well, here's one example, but there's many. Some women make more estrogen. They're more estrogen dominant. In the hormone cascade, you go from progesterone to testosterone to estrogen, and there's genes that do each one of those steps, and we can measure very efficiently how well you do each one of those jobs. So how much do you make? Some women just fill this pot of estrogen really a little bit too much every month. That's
How
step
how
one of.
how would you know? Sorry to interrupt. How would you know if you're
Sure.
filling that pot too much
So
of
there's a
estrogen?
SIP, there's a gene called CYP19A1 that takes your testosterone and converts it into estrogen. And some women have a super fast version of that gene. So they're doing that job a little too efficiently, right?
Does that
So
have
now all of a
side
sudden,
side effects? weight gain or
Yeah, so if you're more estrogenized, you're going to have more of a voluptuous figure. You're going to have nice hair and skin, but you're going to have things like fibromyalgia, endometriosis, horrible mood swings, anxiety, bad menstrual cycle. Too much estrogen equals some good stuff and it equals some bad stuff, right? So now that's step one of three. Step two is when you have your monthly cycle. If you're menopausal, you're still doing this, you're just not having the cycle. You first convert that estrogen into a metabolite. Your body converts it into either 2, 4, or 16 hydroxyestrogen. 2 is good, clean stuff you want. 4 and 16 are toxic. So now if you're doing that, you're going into 4 and 16. These cause inflammation. So that's step 2 of 3. Now we go look at the detoxification pathways that get rid of that toxin if you're making it. And you may be missing some genes like I am, or may have the bad version of the genes. You just don't do that job so well. So now we have this profile. A woman that makes too much estrogen, she makes a toxic version, she doesn't detoxify it well. That still wasn't a problem in our ancestral life. Today, now, a woman will take birth control pills for 30 years and she'll add even more estrogen, right? Or she'll have a beautiful garden and breathe in gardening pesticides for 10 years. Or she doesn't understand that her Teflon coated frying pan and the chemicals she's using to clean her kitchen are all hormone mimics and disruptors, right? Yeah.
Teflon frying pan? Oh
Yeah.
no.
Teflon is a horrible a mimicker of estrogens. It's full of forever chemicals. If you have a tiny scratch on your Teflon pan, it's emitting 9,000 forever chemicals into your food.
I mean, I thought plastics. I've heard obviously the plastic. There's a lot of estrogens in
Yes.
plastics.
Yeah, so
Um,
Teflon is the same, right? So now you have this woman who has this profile. She has some habits, current modern habits, which our ancestors didn't have, that are overloading that estrogen bucket, making way too much estrogen toxicity, making way too much that the body can't detoxify. Now, fast forward to menopause, you no longer have a menstrual cycle, so you no longer have the ability to get rid of this monthly load, and it's in your body, right? And so the body is somewhat intelligent, and it will say, "Well, I know this stuff causes inflammation; it's damaging, so I'm going to protect myself." And I'm going to go store it in fat and keep it away from the organs and the veins. And where do women have fat? Right?
well, I mean, and funny enough, it changes, and when you hit menopause, it tends to go around the belly. I mean,
Yes.
I've worked out for years, so you know, I don't. In fact, I changed since I went on to testosterone, but that's a whole new thing, and my body composition completely changed because I was very low in testosterone when I got measured. And my estrogen was very low when I came off, and I've just been measured again. My estrogen's low and my testosterone's gone up. But
Right.
I'm feeling like a different woman because the testosterone's doing magnificent things for me.
Exactly. It makes you feel incredible, right?
I
And when
feel
you're,
like a new woman. I feel like I'm in my 20s again.
yeah, exactly. So now you have this profile, you have the habits, and you have too much estrogen toxicity, and it gets deposited in your breast tissue because you have a lot of fat there. And you have these glands and ducts that were designed for delivering milk that the cellular structure were not designed to deal with toxins. Your lungs are because they're like a filter. Your gut is a filter. Your liver is a filter. But this inside here was not designed for that. So all of a sudden, inflammation, cellular degradation, cancer settles in. And at that point, BRCA is supposed to get to work, right? So after all of what we talked about, but because we have a disease-centric model that's like, once you have cancer, we're going to start researching and figuring out how to get rid of it. And BRCA doesn't help you get rid of it. So I could test a child and tell them the same story and analyze their DNA and tell them exactly what habits to have so that for the rest of their life, this young girl will not have these problems and in fact feel amazing like you do today.
So I'm a great believer in being the CEO of your own health, and not being a slave to your genes. Because I know we're all
Right.
born, we've all got different genetics, but I believe that we. I mean, I look at my mum, my dad, and I love them both. But my mum's obese, you know, very different to me, and my father doesn't look after his health. They're probably watching, going, "Can't believe you're saying this," but I've gone away. I think I've tried to do as much as I can to sort of beat my genetics. So I'm
Right.
not particularly muscly, but I'm a bodybuilder. I used to be a runner. I'm more built to run. Very small, petite.
Mhm.
frame, I can go long periods without eating, and I'm fast on my feet. And I just became very skinny fat. I don't know if you've heard that
Mm.
expression.
Yep.
So to
Yep.
change things, I now don't touch cardio and I lift weights.